In this video, we're going to demonstrate how to use the Forth Armoury template and mandrel to make a historical reproduction of the Brown Bess cartridge. To get started, you're going to need paper. And I like to use this plain brown lightweight masking paper. You can get it from any big box home improvement store. It's sold in the paint section. It's very lightweight and it has the consistency of newsprint. So to get started, you'll take some of your paper, and if you want to make multiple templates at one time, you can fold your paper. And I'm only going to fold it one time here, but obviously you could fold it many times. And then you're going to take your template, and you'll want to use a nice sharp razor knife and keep your fingers out of the way and just use the template to cut the paper. All right, to make the Brown Bess cartridge, you'll take the piece of paper that you cut out using the template, and then you'll use the mandrel. We want to use the end of the mandrel that has the concave surface, and we're going to place it about 1 inch away from the long end of the trapezoid, so about 1 inch worth of space here. And the British came up with an interesting way to isolate the powder chamber from the ball without necessitating the use of another piece of paper to make that separate chamber. And here's how they did that. So first, we're going to start rolling the cartridge, and you're going to make 1 roll of the paper. And then you're going to use your finger to make a cavity like this. And then we're going to take a 0.69 diameter round ball, which was the service-sized ball for a paper cartridge. And you're going to place it in that hollow in the end of the mandrel and then roll up the cartridge. So you can see what the end looks like here. And then here we have a choking cord, and that's just made with some twine, and it's anchored with a dowel on the choking board and another dowel here that I can pull on. You're going to come over to the choking cord, and you're going to make 1 turn around the end of the cartridge, and then you're going to put your finger over the open end so that it doesn't collapse when you pull the cord. When you're done, you'll have a flower looking thing on the end of your cartridge. And then we're going to take some linen cord. This is a 18-3 linen cord, similar to what would be used in period. We're going to make 2 half hitches on the end of the cartridge. And at this point you can trim the loose end, but we're going to leave the end that's attached to the spool of thread. Form that down nice and neat so we have a rounded end of the cartridge. Then we're going to take this section of thread that's still attached to the cartridge, and we're going to make a loop like this. Then you're going to form another loop behind that loop. So we're going to come around behind the loop. So we're going to loop the loop like this. And then we're going to take this, we're going to flip it over and come down over the end of the cartridge and pull it tight, right where the ball and the mandrel meet. And snug that nice and tight, and it will cinch up the cartridge there where the ball is. And then you remove the mandrel, and now you've got a finished Brown Bess cartridge. And if you look down the end, and I don't know if the camera is going to see down in there, but you won't see the ball because there's now a paper divider between the powder chamber and the ball. So no powder during shipping and handling of these cartridges, no powder can work down around the ball, and that would slowly grow the diameter, which could increase loading difficulty. So very clever arrangement that they came up with for making the cartridge. The next step is to charge the cartridge. And then you're going to pinch the cartridge down to the level where the powder is, and just crease the sides of the tail like so. Fold the tail over, fold the sides of the tail in towards the middle, fold it over on itself and down along the side of the cartridge, and give it a pinch to get a crease there. And that is a finished Brown Bess cartridge. Now, a final word about the charge for the Brown Bess cartridge. It's important to be cautious when you're looking at period documentation for the Brown Bess, because when you look at load data from the 1700s, say, for the Brown Bess, the charges that they list are massive compared to what you'd expect for today's smoothbore muskets. And the reason for that is that British gunpowder improved considerably from 1775 until about 1830. There's a book called The British Gunner by J.M. Spearman, and he notes in there that British gunpowder doubled in strength from 1775 to about 1828. And they recommended, and they did adopt, to reduce the charge at that time because the powder had just gotten so much better. So be cautious reading period loads for the Brown Bess and assuming that you can use those loads in your gun today with modern gunpowder, because you will probably be seriously overloading the gun. So never exceed the recommended manufacturer's charge suggestions for your reproduction Brown Bess. And if you've got an original, you're going to want to consult a qualified gunsmith as you work up a load for it. So just a word of caution, be careful what you're reading for period load data because it may not be applicable to modern gunpowder. Another thing to be cautious with if you're going to shoot these is the paper. When you fire the weapon, the paper can in fact burn, and it is a fire risk. You will have smoldering bits of paper that will end up downrange, and it can catch the grass on fire. So you're going to want to pay attention to that. That is a safety concern that you'll need to be concerned with if you decide to use these for live firing.